One, two, three, funk it.
So nisbah keuntungan, in all the ratios, you will see untung as part of your formula. Okay. What about nisbah kecairan? What's the understanding for nisbah kecairan? It basically means that you have a solid char into liquid, melted into liquid, and same goes to all your assets, char into cash. Okay, so this is the definition of kecairan. Okay. And then we have nisbah kecukupan. What does kecukupan means in English? So kecukupan means efficiency, and efficiency in this case is the efficiency in managing your inventory, your ABT, and your ABB. So you can also tell from all the nisbah that falls under nisbah kecukupan. And most of the ratios that fall under the same category, they share the same format. So for nisbah keberuntungan, for example, they are all in percentage. So we will have our answer in percentage. Nisbah kecairan will have your answer in ratio. So how much to what? And the last one, kecukupan, is not that standardized. You can have hari for all three of them, and you can have kali for your kada persingkat inventory. Okay. So first one, nisbah keberuntungan. As we mentioned just now, it focuses on your ability to get untung. So kemampuan sesebuah peniaga dalam memperoleh keuntungan. But why do we have all four different nisbah keberuntungan is because we are trying to understand the relationship between two different figures. And one of them is your untung. So the first one is your tokokan. Or if you are kind enough, they will tell you beratus untung kasa atas kos jualan. So if they are giving you the name like this, basically you are just interpreting from the name to get your formula. So the formula will be untung kasa on top of, because untung kasa atas kos jualan, right? So untung kasa on top of kos jualan. And because this is nisbah keberuntungan, everything has to be in percentage. So we have to multiply by 100 to get your answer in percentage. Okay, so this only works when it is kind enough. But if it's not kind enough, they will tell you to do tokokan. So tokokan, how I remember the formula is from seeing the name. So you can see that under tokokan we have 2K. So the first K stands for untung kasa, and the second K stands for kos jualan. This is mainly to differentiate between tokokan and your margin untung kasa, because both of them use untung kasa. So untung kasa can be over kos jualan to get your tokokan, or untung kasa can be divided by your jualan bersih to get your margin. So this is how I memorize my formula. And what is the importance of tokokan is that tokokan helps us to determine our selling price. So when you buy a goods from your seller, from your supplier, and then from this good, you will have to determine a tokokan. So a tokokan meaning that how much you want to add into the cost of these goods to determine the selling price. So for example, okay, this is your supplier. This is you. So from supplier, you are buying a goods of 10 ringgit. And now this 10 ringgit goods is in your business. When you want to sell to your customer, what you need to determine is, this is your customer. What you need to determine is when you are selling, how much untung kasa you want to earn from it. So let's say you want to earn 20% profit from this sales. So what we do to get our selling price will be, we use 20% multiplied by cost, 10 ringgit, and then we get 2 ringgit. So 2 ringgit is the untung kasa that we want to earn. 20% is the untung kasa in percentage. 2 ringgit is the untung kasa in ringgit. Okay, so we are trying to convert everything to ringgit, and then we get our selling price. Cost of 10, and the 2 ringgit that we want to earn. And here we go. selling price, we are going to sell to our customer at 12 ringgit. Okay, so this is where Tokokan comes in. Okay. Any question for now? No question. Okay. And then we have another thing you can write down or note down is for Tokokan, we have another name for it. It's called your markup. Okay, markup. So it's actually shown in this case. When we say markup in a business, basically means how much we want to increase from the cost to the selling price. The difference between your cost, how much you spend to buy the goods, to your selling price. So the difference between these two will be markup. Okay. Perfect. And then we have margin untung kasar or Paratus untung kasar atas jualan. For margin untung kasar, if they didn't specify whether it's margin untung kasar or margin untung bersih, the default for margin is actually margin untung kasar. So if they just mention margin, calculate margin, then what you need to calculate is actually margin untung kasar. Margin untung kasar is trying to find out for each 1 ringgit of sales, how much is your untung kasar. That's it. It's a very straightforward usage and a very straightforward formula. Why do we have to calculate percentage for all these figures? Why can't we just look at our untung kasar and tell whether the business is doing good or not? Why do we have to divide here, divide there, and then multiply this, multiply that? So it's the idea that something like, why am I talking like that? Okay, it's something like, I actually don't remember your papers. Okay, so for accounts, I know for accounts you have paper 1, 40 question, and then paper 2 you have 100 marks. Paper 3 you have, okay, let's ignore paper 3 because I don't want to do it. Yeah, just don't. And BM you have paper 1, how many marks? Is it 100 or 140? Something like that. 100 for paper 1. Paper 2. Okay. Oh, see so many 100 in chat. We're so happy. Okay. So in this case, if you want to compare your accounts result and your BM result, your Malay result, what if I tell you for paper 1, accounts you get, this is a very, okay, so 27. And BM paper, you get 27 for your, not you, okay. For BM, I get 27 out of 100 as well. So if we don't convert it into a percentage, if we don't calculate a percentage for your BM and your accounts, and we're just telling our parents, for accounts, I get 27 for paper 1. And then I tell my parents, for BM paper 1, I get 27. So if I'm not telling my parents how much is the minimum or how much is the total, they will think that my accounts is actually the same as my BM performance. Right? Just 27 and 27. And this is why we have to divide it by, this is why we have to calculate the relationship between the two figures. We have to calculate the one that I obtained and the maximum mark for each paper to show a more realistic or more actual picture of the two figures, the relationship between the two figures. So for the tafsiran part, is actually very straightforward. Why do I keep repeating this? Okay, the tafsiran part is the idea of division. So whenever we are doing division, for example, like a simple maths question, now you have 10 apples, and then we have 5 people here. So when we are trying to get how many apples can each of us get, we will use division, and we will find out that for each of us, we can get 2 apples. So the tafsiran for these two is referring to for each person, we can get how many apple. So tafsiran for this one is bagi setiap satu orang, from the bottom first, start from the bottom. Bagi setiap satu orang, okay, Malay. Okay, rephrase my Malay. Okay, setiap orang boleh mendapat 2 apple, 2 biji apple. So this is how we tafsir the 2 apple. So same concept goes to your accounts or the misbah keberuntungan. Let's say if we get a 20% hit, then when we tafsir, we also tafsir the same way. Bagi setiap RM1 from the bottom, start from the bottom. So the bottom is kos jualan. So bagi setiap RM1 kos jualan, untung kasar, we go to the upper part. Untung kasar yang diperoleh is how many cent. So how do we get this cent? This is actually referring to RM1 and multiplied by the percentage that we get here. So it's always starting with RM1 multiplied by the, for example, this one is 20%. 20%. So for this one, 20 cents. It's okay for you to put it as RM 0.2, it's fine. Or we can also put it as 20 cents because the concept is the same. Okay, so this is called tafsiran. Any question for tafsiran? The difference between this figure and this figure is actually telling you how well you control your belanja, expenses of belanja. Okay. And I think for this one is perolehan. Perolehan is another name for jualan bersih. And how do you get jualan bersih? How is jualan bersih different from jualan? Thank you. Perfect. Yeah. So jualan bersih means your jualan minus your pulangan jualan. Perfecto. Okay. So there's no question? Okay, no question. I know I asked before. Okay, no question. So pulangan atas model, same thing. You are also using untung as part of your formula. So we have untung bersih, and then remember you are dividing by model awal. You're dividing it by model awal. So untung bersih divided by model awal. This one you can actually also interpret from the name of the nisbah itself. We call it pulangan atas model. So first thing is under the fraction, we will have model. And what is pulangan? What does pulangan mean? Or what's your understanding of pulangan? Return. Perfecto. Yep. So pulangan means return. It's just the same concept as you save money into the bank. And then what's the return that we will get? Interest. Thank you. Okay. Misbah kecairan. Yeah. So as we mentioned just now, it focuses on converting your asset into money. But what it is actually assessing is your ability to pay back your liability using your asset. So now you have asset, we want to convert it into cash, and then using this cash, we are going to pay our liability. So this is nisbah kecairan. Nisbah kecairan, we have two. One of them is nisbah semasa. So semasa, what is semasa in our business? When we are doing accounts, what we have as semasa is your asset semasa and your liability semasa. So if I'm not mistaken, semasa actually means like current. It is current. Yeah, English, we call it current asset, current liability. Or you can also understand it as a temporary stuff. So this is the value of this asset and liability in your business is actually temporary. It will change within 1 year. This is why we call it current nisbah semasa, asset semasa, and liability semasa, right? Yep. So these two combined together, we have nisbah semasa. So nisbah semasa is actually very similar to the term modal kerja. Do you remember modal kerja? How do you calculate it, or where do you see modal kerja? PKK. Yep. And how do you thank you. So modal kerja, we get it from your PKK. It's the part where we use asset semasa total minus liability semasa total. And that's where we get our modal kerja. So how these two are related is they are using the same figures. We use asset semasa, we use liability semasa for both. We just have for nisbah semasa, we try to get the answer in a ratio. So this one, you will get something like 1.5 to 1. For modal kerja, we are getting the actual figure in RM. So we use minus. Asset semasa minus liability semasa. So they are supposed to be consistent. Consistent in the sense that if my asset semasa is 1.5 to 1, then here for modal kerja, you will definitely get a positive figure. Meaning that your asset semasa is more than your liability semasa, you will have enough money to pay back your liability semasa. If terbalik, let's say this is 0.7 to 1. So 0.7 to 1, it means that asset semasa is 0.7, liability semasa is 1, which also means that your liability is more than your asset. We don't have enough asset to pay back. In this case, your modal kerja should have a negative figure. So the interpretation of your modal kerja and nisbah semasa should be consistent. It's either you are able to do it or you are not able to do it. Do it as in to pay back your liability. Okay. So, yep. Nisbah semasa, when you are comparing between two businesses, we will still say that the higher the better. So, if you have 1.5 to 1 and another one is 2.3 to 1, 2.3 to 1 is better than 1.5 to 1. Okay. But the ideal for your business, in general, we will say that is 2 to 1. So for each 1 ringgit of liability semasa, you need to have 2 ringgit of asset semasa in your business for you to be safe. Safe as in you have enough money to pay back your liability when they are due. Okay. Why do we need 2 to 1? Why can't we just have 1 to 1? 1 to 1 also means that you are able to pay back. So it's like you have 1,000 ringgit liability semasa, then in your pocket, I want to draw a pocket. Okay. In your pocket, you also have 1,000 asset semasa. Why can't we just have 1 to 1? Why we need extra in our pocket? Need extra assets to run the business? Correct. Correct. Extra assets or extra cash, extra money in your business for you to run it. What does it mean is that in this pocket, this money, besides from paying back your liability, yeah, definitely we need to pay back our liability because we are owing the money, right? Besides from paying back, we also have other expenses or belanja that we have to pay back. So cash is not used only for liability. It is also used for your belanja. So if it's 1 to 1, 1,000 liability semasa, 1,000 asset semasa, it means that once you pay back all your liability semasa, you won't have cash to pay for your belanja. Belanja, for example, your sewa, gaji. I'm stuck. I haven't been doing accounts in Malay for a while. Yeah, things like that. Belanja that you have to pay. Sewa, gaji, kada bayaran. All these require assets to pay as well. Okay, so we need a 2 to 1 as ideal. But if you want to interpret, if you want to tafsir, it's just as long as it is more than 1, then it is sufficient. It means that the peniagaan mampu bayar liability semasa. They have the ability to pay back. It's just that it's better to have at least to have 2 to 1. Okay. So if Nisba Semasa is lower than 2 to 1 or lower than 1 to 1, what it means that is that you don't have enough money to pay back, as mentioned. We discussed about it here. It means that tidak mampu membayar. What if you have 15 to 1 for your Nisba Semasa? Does it mean that it is good? No. And the next question will be why? Is it good for us to have more assets in business? The more the merrier. Right. Your tabung. This is your tabung, and then you have all the money here. When you put money into your tabung, it is actually not generating any income, because with this money in the tabung, it is not going to make any extra money. But what you can do with this money in the tabung, you can actually use this money, and then you go and buy a machine. How to draw a machine? Okay, like that. Okay, so you can tell from here, my table, machine, and anything else looks the same. So this is a machine, okay? Okay, machine, 3D one. So with this extra machine or cars, it can actually help your business to generate more income, more profit. For example, machine, it can increase your production, and then you can sell more. For example, your motor vehicles, it can help to maybe increase the efficiency of your delivery, and then your customer is going to buy more from you more frequently, for example. So the idea here is that it's okay for you to have a lot of assets, but the assets can be converted into non-current asset, because non-current assets is the one that you use in your business to help you generate income, money. But current asset like this one, cash itself, is not going to help you generate money. Okay, so too low, less than 1 is not good. Too high is also not good. Okay, but again, when we are doing comparison, if you are comparing Syarikat A with a Nisbah Semasa of 1.3 to 1 and Syarikat B with a Nisbah Semasa of 13 to 1, we will still say that Syarikat B is better. So inventory. Okay, so this is your inventory. And then for inventory to be converted into money, into cash, what is the step? What are the steps in between? So first one, this inventory you have to put onto your shelf. This is your shelf. And then you have to sell it to your customer. This is your customer. Okay, so this is step number 1. For inventory to be converted into cash, first you need to have customer. And the second step, you need to go to a customer and collect the money. So comparing to account belum terima, for example, the one in the middle is account belum terima. For account belum terima to be converted into cash is just one step. I go to my customer, I get the money from that, one step. But for inventory, first I need to find a customer, I need to sell them, and then secondly, I need to collect money from them. So you need longer duration between inventory to cash, and also it's more difficult. You need a demand over there, you need the customer to be there. Okay, so it is the most difficult current asset to be converted into cash. That's why if we want to pay back our liabilities semasa instantly, serta-merta, then it can't wait for us to convert our inventory into cash, because it's going to take longer duration, longer time. Does it make sense? Let's do some questions lah. Jualan bersih minus cost jualan, that's a good try. Jualan minus cost jualan, you get your untung kasar. That's a correct formula for untung kasar in general. Okay, the issue with this question is that if you look at the information given here, we have jualan bersih. So we have jualan kredit and jualan tunai. And then we have inventory awal, inventory akhir for us to calculate cost jualan. But the issue here is that we don't have belian. So we don't really have the information for cost jalan? Can we just use the Paratus? And the answer is right. Correct. Yeah, no, don't do that. Good try, buddy. What's that? Is there a Pokemon in your picture? Okay, sorry. Get distracted. Yep, and now you're right. So we are using Paratus for this one. It's here. Paratus untuk kasa atas jalan. So we have the information for jalan, which is these two. We have jalan credit and jalan tunai, giving us a total of 78,200. This is our jalan figure. So we have 78,200 jalan, and then they are telling us that Paratus untung kasa atas jalan is 20%. So go to your formula, untung kasa divided by jalan, multiplied by 100 will give us 20%. Move whatever you can move. Untung kasa stay here. Jalan is here, 78,200, and 100 over there become 0.2 and 0.2. And then to get untung kasa, we are going to move your 78,200 over to the other side. It becomes 0.2 multiplied by 78,200. And use a calculator. Yeah, this is why I cannot teach maths for so long. Okay. 15,640. When you are doing calculation questions for this chapter and the for five last chapter, whenever you are doing just pure calculation like this one, remember for your final answer, put in your unit. So for this one, it's RM 15640. It's okay for you to ignore the unit when you're doing a calculation, but final answers in the first part that is used here because we have the figure for jalan 78,200. Now we are looking for cost jalan and we have our untung kasa. So we just move around everything and then we calculate cost jalan. Jalan minus untung kasa, 62,560. So this one, bring into your formula, 62,560 multiplied by 100. And then calculate. Okay, 25%. Serious ah? Then what do you do when you're doing revision? Nothing to do already eh. Cost jalan over inventory purata. Good for you, Jason. Okay. Yeah, good for me as well. Okay. So cost jalan. Cost jalan from here to previous part. So we have 62560. And how do we calculate inventory purata for this one? You can either tell me how or you can calculate for me. According to a tradition in this class, then it's always, you telling me how lah, as if I don't know how. But please tell me, how do you calculate inventory purata? 200. So bring it here, 14,200. And I calculate the answer. Okay, 4.41. Remember, final answer, always remember your unit. So in this one will be in kali. Okay, so 4.41 kali. This is according to their requirement, 2 decimal places. So you can write 4.41 kali. Yeah. What if I want to convert this kali into hari? What do we do? What do we do? Yeah, including you. Okay, 365 divide by the answer here. Hey, hey. Hey, hey. Yeah. 82 days, 82.77 days. I mean hari. Okay. So yeah, you can use the actual formula given in the textbook, which is I think the balik of this one, inventory purata over cost jalan multiplied by 365. You can use this one to calculate, or if you have already calculated the kali, then you can straight away use 365 divided by your kali. Okay. Tempo ketimbang 6,003 divided by 62,800 default days in a year is 365. Calculate. $36.62. Hurry. Okay, so you can keep your answer here this way in two decimal places as required. If you don't specify, then you can have both 36.62 or 37 days. Either one is fine. Any question? No, I know. Okay, no question. Answering on your behalf. Okay. Berdasarkan jawapan anda di 4B1, tahun manakah yang menunjukkan peningkatan kecekapan pihak pengurusan mengutip hutang daripada pelanggan? Berikan alasan. So the first part, when I give you a question like this, the first thing that you have to do is actually identify which nisbah is related to this situation. So this one is quite obvious. They are saying pengurusan mengutip hutang. So for this one, we'll be looking at tempo kutipan hutang. So we're going to refer to tempo kutipan hutang for both years. 2020 is 42 days, and 2021 is 37 days. Which year is better? (2021) because for Harvey, it will be the lower the better. It means faster. So we want to receive the money faster, sooner. So you will say tahun 2021 and berikan alasan. How do you answer the alasan part? Okay, sorry. I'm supposed to tell you, right? First question, right? Okay. So when you're telling the alasan, then you have to tell them your reasoning. Well, how do you know that 2021 is better? Which nisbah you are referring to? So we are referring to tempo kutipan hutang. Pilkada tempo kutipan hutang. For untuk tahun 2021. It's better because it's shorter. Adalah, sorry. So you can write how much is it. So sebanyak or selama. Selama is a correct word, right? I mean, it's a word, right? Selama 37 days adalah lebih pendek. Pendek daripada 2020 yang bernilai 42 days. I'm pretty sure bernilai is not the right word. Anyone can replace this word for me? Assuming that you can read my handwriting. Just say selama. Okay. Okay. Thanks, Jason. Selama 42 days. Oh, much better. Oh, thank you. Oh, didn't know BM is so easy. Okay. But yep, either one is fine. Okay. I mean, either one is perfect. Okay then. Thank you for attending class and see you next Monday night.